This is where the fun begins.
What is up, everybody?
But we've seen this movie before.
What's Sam Pittman known for?
I don't know.
Exactly. Is the Arkansas athletic program cursed? But you never know what the loudest mouth in the fan base and his wild band of misfits are going to say.
I have a river of Kool-Aid for basketball.
It's time to step inside the Hawg Pen with your hosts, Razorback Zach and Marcus MC Carlton.
What's up, everybody? It's time for another episode of Inside the Hawg Pen. I'm your host, of course, Razorback Zach from the Central Arkansas Hawg Pen, alongside my broadcast partner. And after last week's technical issues, I'm going to say it every dang show, the glue that holds the whole damn thing together, Marcus MC Carlton. What's up, dude?
Hey, man. I'm happy to be back.
Well, you know, I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. When you're not on the show, things break. See, this is what happens. This is what happens.
Well, I hate that, but you know, it couldn't be avoided last week. So
hey, major props to D-Mad for stepping in, and of
absolutely.
course the beard behind the board, our boy Jesse Thurman from the holding it down in the Sideline Radio Network compound. But got a big show tonight. We are 1 week away from Razorback football, and I thought it'd never get here, to be honest with you, MC. But we got a couple of business things got to take care of first. First off, next week we are going to have 4 shows in 3 days. 4 shows in 3 days. We're going to have our weekly show on Wednesday, and then Thursday, it is the Harris Made Chef Services Tailgate Show coming to you at 6 p.m., from the War Memorial Golf Course. And of course, I'll be out there tailgating all day, giving live shots and everything, talking to the fans, and going to be a good time. Come out and see us. We're going to have great food. We'll have the pregame show out there, and who knows, you might even make it live on air. And then the postgame, depending, that's still kind of up in the air, depending on how the game goes. It could be a late night Thursday night, or we could probably do it Friday. We don't know yet. And then, of course,
if it ends up like one of the last Pine Bluff games and they do like a running clock in the fourth quarter, then we may go ahead and do it Thursday night. But or if it does not go quite as much of a blowout as we expect, we may all need a gripe session, shall we say.
An extended Hawg Tuah segment.
Yeah.
Couldn't help that. And then, of course, Friday morning, 10 a.m., I am back alongside my broadcast partner on the Dave Ellswick Show, 101.1 FM. The Answer is the place to find us. And, of course, we'll have that Facebook link for the stream on our Facebook page and across all of our social medias. And look forward to that. When I was on the first time a couple weeks ago, it was a whole lot of fun. So August 30th, 10 to 11 a.m., Dave Ellswick, going to be a fun show. Now, that being said, we got one big benefit coming up at the end of September 28th, 6 to 9 p.m., the Little Oktoberfest 2024 Little Oktoberfest, benefiting Casting for Recovery from the Rusty Tractor Vineyard. Y'all aren't going to want to miss it. I'll be out there broadcasting all day long, talking to breweries, talking to the people from Casting for Recovery. Plus, we're going to get you guys all set for all the day's action in college football, including the Razorback game. Tickets are $40, $75 for VIPs, $25 for designated drivers like yours truly. And then, of course, $10 if you want to park there at the event. But there is a free shuttle that runs from the Cinemark Rave Colonel Glenn Theaters, and that'll take you to the event. It's just off Colonel Glenn, but we'll have all that information on our Facebook page the closer we get. Now, that being said, Jesse, we have a couple of birthdays in our notes, so we got to do some birthday music. wish a very happy birthday to our number one fan, Mama Linda. She is an undisclosed age. I'm not going to disclose that information, but she is. She celebrated a birthday a couple of days ago, and then of course, the wise man of our group, the Paul Heyman of ITHP, our very own social media manager, Loki DeWitt, is celebrating a birthday today. So happy birthday, you two, from all of us here at ITHP. All right, so here's what's going on. We got an open week this week, so somewhat. We're gearing up for game week next week, and we wanted to do something a little bit different. We wanted to kind of give our hot takes, our predictions, and let me tell you, some of them are wild. We even got all of our staff involved. DMAD, MC, myself, Loki, Jesse, and Sarah. We've all got our season predictions in and all of our hot takes, and we're gonna do we're gonna have all of that. Plus, the fans have spoken themselves, and we're gonna talk all about your hot takes, your predictions from our Facebook posts, as well as live comments from the Cam Productions live fan feedback on Facebook and YouTube. So, and then of course, the very end of the show has become a fan favorite, the Hawg Tuah segment, which if you don't know what Hawg Tuah segment is, stay tuned. You'll understand why we named it that way.
Yeah, you got to stick around. Yeah.
I have lost the ability to speak half the time. And so
you just got to spit on that thing. So
I know you did not just. Oh my God! Wow!
I'm just saying.
Well,
when all else fails,
way to bring our show to a grinding freaking halt. Jesus, man. What am I gonna do with you, dude? What am I gonna? I'm supposed to be the one making those comments. Come on now. But so much so that our EP, Jesse, has decided he's going to put out a gag reel of, well, pretty much me stumbling over my words and what he calls porky pigging it. We've got to figure out another name for that because it just don't sound right.
Dude, that's perfect. Because you're a hog fan. It's a pig. It's perfect.
All right, I'll take it.
When I was calling football games and basketball games for live streams, if it got down to the point where like there was a point in the game where, you know, somebody throws a dagger of a touchdown pass or hits a big 3-point or whatever, right? I used to say you could cue up Porky Pig because that's all, folks.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll take that. That. But yeah, like I said, you know, if you guys want in, Cam Productions live fan feedback on YouTube and Facebook, and I believe we're on our Sideline Radio Network Twitter as well. So if you're watching us from Twitter, you can leave us a comment there. But all right, MC, let's jump off into this. And we are 8 days away from the start of the season.
Yep. As our boy D-Mad said, 8 being Tyler Wilson days away.
Here's the thing, though. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid by any stretch of the imagination. This is kind of like that sugar-free Kool-Aid, man. Yeah. You take one sip and you're like, what the hell is this stuff?
So you got like the knockoff Kool-Aid, the flavor ice or whatever it was.
Yeah. And all right, now look, don't knock the flavor ice popsicles. All right.
No, this is like the powder stuff.
This is those flavor ice popsicles. Want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah.
Trying to rip those things. And then 38 years later, I find out all you got to do is snap the thing in half.
Oh, yeah, that ticked me.
We're off in the weeds. We're off in the weeds, but still. We've got some pretty wild hot takes, pretty wild staff picks. I don't want to run through the list yet, but what is your season prediction for the 2024-2025 Arkansas Razorback football team?
Well, if you've seen the movie Rocky 3, when they ask Clubber Lang what his prediction is, mine is the same. Pain. And not in a good way. I'm just not feeling it. I hate to be Debbie Downer, but I have more questions than I have answers. And usually when you have more questions than you have answers, that's not a good thing.
But MC, Bobby Petrino's back at Arkansas.
And I think that will make a difference. I think it will make a difference. but you still, no matter, Ryan Mallett, God rest his soul, is not walking through that door. Tyler Wilson's not walking through that door. Taylor Green may be great, or he may be the second coming of Pete Burks. We don't know. Shout out, LeJeune Hurt from back in the day.
And for those of us that don't know who Pete Burks is,
if you're not old enough to know who Pete Burks is, go get on ArkansasRazorbacks.com and look at old football rosters.
So, but 4-8 is what you told us.
Yeah.
And your hot take. Now, explain to me this because I wanted to ask you this.
Okay. All right.
You have Malachi Singleton as the starter.
Yeah. So my hot take was that Taylor Green would not start the full year, and that Malachi Singleton would be starting by the Tennessee game.
Why is that?
And this is not a slam on Taylor Green at all, but I think there are too many questions on the offensive line, combined with the fact that he is a bit of a scrambler.
Okay.
I think there's a high probability he's probably going to get injured at some point, either due to subpar offensive line play, or maybe he's trying to stretch for a third down somewhere, not Supermaning it from the 5-yard line, but he's trying to stretch maybe when he should just go down, injures, shoulder, leg, something. I don't know, man. I just have a feeling that by the Tennessee game, and it won't be due to a lack of production. I think the kid's going to be okay with his production, but I think it's going to be, we've got 3 guys from the transfer portal. They're going to be starting on the offensive line. To me, that's not a red flag. That is a flashing siren red light, like in Twisters. But I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it. I think Singleton will be thrown into it. And I'm not saying he's not ready. And let's be honest, we might see a lot of Malachi Singleton. Hopefully we see a lot of him in the Pine Bluff game due to Arkansas blowing out Pine Bluff. But I just think that, I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a jaded Hog fan and I'm just waiting for something bad to happen.
Well, but at the same time, MC, you're not too far off because look at the track record.
Yeah.
We, again, just look at the last, we'll start 2020 because we're not going to talk about the 2 years prior to that. But look at the last 12 years or so. If you want to look at it as a whole, we've not been anything special. And then you're talking about since 2020. Yeah, you've got 3 huge wins in 2020, which is a COVID year, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But, Tennessee, LSU, and who was the other one? I forget who the other one was.
20?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I've slept since then.
Well, but my point is, you've got then you come around and you have 9-3. Then you have 7-6. Okay. And then you have 4-8.
Yeah, that's the thing. You had the foundation laid with that 9-3 season. You go and you beat a historical blue blood in Penn State without your best offensive player, mind you, because Treylon Burks set out the bowl game.
Yeah, I don't understand.
So
that.
without your best offensive player, you go in and you basically dominate that game. Now, Penn State had a few guys missing as well, but you should be able to build on that and come back better the next year and not trend in the wrong direction. You have 9 wins, you have the majority of your team back, and you follow it up with 7.
Not only that, and I've said it multiple times on this show, you took a mediocre Kansas team to 3 overtimes in the Liberty Bowl that year.
Well, not only that, you are the reason that Hugh Freeze is now at Auburn from that 2022 season, because he's at Liberty. He comes into Razorback Stadium, beats you with less talent in your own stadium, and parlays that into the Auburn job at the end of the year. I don't know, man. Sam's got to win me back over, and I just don't know that he can do it.
I think he's got to win a lot of the fan base over. From our Facebook post earlier this week, we've got a couple of responses. Kevin Edwards says midseason meltdown and Bobby takes back over as head hog.
And I think a lot of people are expecting that.
Well, when I give my hot take, people are about to come after me like they came after D-Mad last week. And then Sam Pound says, same old song and dance. I've learned not to set my expectations too high. With that being said, 5-7 with a sympathetic invite to the toilet bowl.
I mean, technically they could end up in a bowl game at 5-7 with that new rule now.
I mean, with 8 wins, you could end up in the freaking college football playoff, but that's another story for another time.
But I'm kind of like Sam Pound there. The second verse, same as the first. And, if I don't set my expectations very high, I can't be disappointed.
D-Mad's, and like I said, we're going to go through these staff predictions. D-Mad said he 8-4. I want to know what the hell he's smoking.
Ooh. I love the optimism from D-Mad.
Well, and here's his explanation, is that the defense steps up and is a top 25 defense this year. Okay. I can kind of see where he's going, but I can't see 8 wins.
I'll say this. If the defense is a top 25 defense, we're all going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to have a heck of a lot of crow to eat from D-Mad, because I feel like the offense will be there for the most part, even with what I just said about the offensive line issues. Bobby's not, Bobby pays attention to details. I think there will be some offensive line issues. I am hoping that those get settled fairly early on. But I think D-Mad's right. If the defense is there, I think the wins will follow.
Well, but what is Bobby Petrino known for? Outscoring his opponent.
Yeah.
No defense, outscoring his opponent.
Yeah.
Jesse, our producer, the beard behind the board, says 5-7 with 1,000-yard rusher, 1,000-yard receiver.
I could see that. Yeah.
Although I got to ask, how the hell do you go 5-7 and have 1,000-yard rusher and receiver?
You lose a bunch of games 48-40.
I mean, how?
Which, I mean, I could see high scoring games. It's just, that's the thing. If the offensive line comes in and gels, and let's say the offense is putting up 35 plus a game, but the defense is allowing 30 a game, you may lose some games 49-42 or 49-45.
Well, he had a pretty simple answer. And Jesse, do you have your mic up?
Yep, I was about to jump in. It all comes back to coach, I don't know.
I mean,
when you don't know when to call timeouts, you don't know how to game manage, you're going to lose those 49-42 games.
That's not what we ran in practice.
So let me throw this at you guys. He was at the Little Rock Touchdown Club as the first speaker. I didn't get to watch it, but from everything I heard, he did a pretty good job. He did make a comment that stuck out to me. He said that he was going to throw out the book that he used that had all of his analytics in it and all this, for lack of a better term, we'll call it Kevin Kelly language, because Kevin Kelly is the big analytics guy. And he said he was going to rely more on his gut rather than going with analytics. What do you guys think about that?
That explains a whole heck of a lot from last year.
That was exactly what I texted you and about a dozen other people. When I took that quote, I sent it. I said, this explains so much to me.
Yeah. And it speaks volumes. It does. It speaks volumes, because you can't look, just because Kevin Kelly, who is a football genius, by the way, I've had a couple of conversations with him over the years, and I'd love to watch a game with him and get his take on what he sees and pick the brain of such an football analytical coach like he is. But at the same time, just because he can pull it off doesn't mean everybody can.
Well, yeah, and shout out Sheridan, because that's where Kevin Kelly is now. Good luck to them this year. But this is a different level of football. His success with the analytics came at the high school level, and I'm not, in no way am I trying to disrespect what he did with his analytical thinking and his no punt philosophy and all that. But that working the high school level doesn't necessarily mean it's going to translate to the SEC level.
Well, but I mean, at the same time, Pitt, I honestly think, and I'll be honest with you, I think Pitt got desperate last year.
I would agree. I would agree 100%.
I think after A&M, I think he got desperate. I think he started to panic, and that's how you ended up with the Missouri game and all the fights and everybody checking out and it being an embarrassment at halftime.
Oh, it was awful.
That's why you had the collapse against Auburn, where I was the funniest. I was more entertaining in my section at that game than what was on the field. Which, by the way, I'd just like to put a disclaimer out there. If you hear during a hog call, if you hear somebody scream louder,
that's our boy.
That's me. And if you get pissed about it, I don't care. Scream louder.
I think we're going to have plenty of other things to be pissed about. I don't think people will be worrying about that.
I don't know. During the baseball season, somebody took to Twitter and got on John Williams and was like, dude, somebody's out here screaming louder. We don't need that.
Well, turns out baseball did need it.
Somewhere Sarah's head is exploding.
We don't have to worry about Dave Van Horn saying, I don't know what happened.
Right. Okay, so let's continue on. Sarah also says 5-7. Loki had a I think Loki has a crystal ball, and here's why we call him the wise man.
Yes. I'm glad you said that, because you're about to get a taste of why we refer to Loki as the wise man.
And he didn't just say, 3-9, and here's why. No, he broke it down to the point where it makes sense. And Garrett, we're going to get to your comment. I see it on the screen here in just a minute. So he says, okay, final record of 3-9. We will not win the Boot, the Southwest Classic, or the Battle Line. Texas will embarrass and expose us. No bowl game. We will finish 14th overall in the SEC, only ahead of Mississippi State and Vanderbilt. Pittman will somehow still be the coach at the end of the season. Recruiting will dive bomb. NIL issue will be blamed for the reason why, and it will be such an issue it will overshadow everything else, even our awful record, and will not be resolved until late in the season, if at all. Holy crap. Cue that. Wait, hold on, Jesse. I'm going to steal the board from you for a minute because I'm going to crank this up real quick.
Yeah.
Well, I'm searching around here and wondering where Loki parked the DeLorean, because that sounds like he's been in a time machine.
It's
and
spot
he's gone
on
up to about Thanksgiving.
It is spot dead on.
I mean, that sounds like a perfect Arkansas scenario.
You know,
he does come back and say we will barely beat Mississippi State.
I swear to God, if we beat Mississippi State 7-3, I might actually just quit.
What if it's like Mississippi State and Auburn from about 10 or 15 years ago? That game ended up 3-2.
Yeah, I remember that. Or the national champion, or the Alabama or LSU game, it's 9-7.
Yeah.
Where it's nothing but field goals. Oh my God, that would the fan base would riot.
I would much rather lose 48-45 than to lose 3-2 or 7-3.
I can't. His logic is sound, dude. His logic is sound.
I mean, I sit here, we saw this beforehand, before the show, and I was sitting here and I was thinking, man, what can I do to shoot holes in anywhere near his target? And
you can't.
No, you can't.
You can't even argue, because he's spot on with Texas. Texas, they're coming off the national championship playoffs.
The only thing I would ask as kind of a sidebar to, him saying that Sam would somehow still be the coach. If they go 3-9, do you think there's any way that Sam just steps down?
Well, we've come to the point, and now let me answer that with my hot take.
Okay. All right.
3-9.
What a segue.
Record. 3-9. That's beautiful, dude. We're getting better every year. Beautifully done, my friend. Okay, so we're gonna go 3-9. I hate to say it, but the only wins you're gonna have are UAPB, Law Tech, and maybe Mississippi State. Other than that, I don't see us. I see us.
You got us dropping to Oklahoma State and UAB both.
Yes.
Oh God, man. Ooh,
in back-to-back weeks.
Back-to-back weeks, yeah.
Let me explain. That's my realistic record. Now, here's my hot take of what could happen. Unrealistic, but that's what hot takes are.
Yes.
First 6 games, Pittman goes 2-4. All right.
Yeah.
He cuts his buyout in half. They kick him to the curb. All right, Bobby, interim head coach. Bobby runs the table. We end up 8-4 with a Cotton Bowl bid. Bobby gets named the new head coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks. The circle has now been completed. The heavens opened, and the angels sang, "Woo, Pig Suey." And if you haven't listened to it yet, the curse of Arkansas is now officially broken.
My man.
Thank you, Amsterdam. Good night. And with that, we're going to take a break. Have a break. More hot takes, more predictions. You never know what we're going to say next on Inside the Hawg Pen. Coming right back.
Meeks Design is your one-stop shop for custom clothing with a personal touch. At Meeks Design, we can help you tell your story through your wardrobe. Your imagination on a hat, shirt, pullover, or nearly anything wearable. And while you're picking out some custom clothing, check out the one-of-a-kind handmade soaps from the Bobcat Soap Company. Find us on Facebook and let us create custom swag just for you at Meeks Design.
It's time to step back inside the Hawg Pen to the Meeks Design Studios.
All right, welcome back to Inside the Hawg Pen on the Sideline Radio Network. Razorback Zach, Marcus, MC Carlton hanging out with you. Holy crap. That is how you end the segment right there. Props to all my boys, MC and Jesse.
Hosting it to the break right there.
That was beautifully done, and I got to give a shout out to both of you because that was great. Seriously, how do you not give him the head coaching job unless he doesn't want it? Because I was talking to another friend of mine today, Justin Garrison. He said, Bobby P doesn't want to be a head coach anymore. He's too old. He's out of the game already. Why do you think Nick Saban is no longer coaching? Why do you think Jimbo Fisher's not pursuing a head coaching job? Ed Orgeron. The game has changed so much that Tommy Tuberville went into politics.
Yeah. Yeah. How wild is that? What does that say for the state of college football and how insane everything is that a very successful coach looks at it and goes like, you know what? I think I want to go politics instead.
That's wild. But, and I know that's a few years old, but still, I mean, it's a valid point. But no, I mean, and that's what these hot takes are for, because I said it on Dave Ellswick. I said it here multiple times. Excuse me. We have no idea what this team is capable of. For the first time in 12 years, there's literally so many unknowns that all we have to go on is recent history. And that trajectory shows we're not going to do anything better than 3-9, maybe even a 2-10.
The recent history is not good, man. It's just not.
But MC, on the flip side of that, and D-Mad, if you're watching, please don't wreck your truck when I say this. He might be right. We have the opportunity to surprise the heck out of some people.
Yeah.
And maybe go 8-4. I mean, I'll be happy with 7-5 after last year. But
honestly, I will be happy with 6-6. I really will. And now I say that, and then when we get to where we're losing a couple of tight games that are going to be the difference in 6 wins and 8 or more, I'm going to lose my mind and I'm going to complain a little bit.
Well, and his method of thinking, MC, is look at how many games we lost last year by 1 score.
Yeah.
or less.
And that's a fair assessment. But I just don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Like you've pointed out, and I said it earlier in the show, I've got more questions than I've got answers.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I'm not going to be surprised if Loki ends up being correct and we go 3-9, and I'm not going to be just completely heart attack shocked if D-Mad's right and we end up at 8-4.
You realize I am not letting him on this show for months if he turns out right.
He will bust through the door takeover style if we go 8-4, man.
Well, he lives just down the street from me, so that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Okay, but no, I mean, along with Loki, his logic is sound too. Okay.
Yeah.
If Bobby P would have been on the sideline last year, we would have won those 4 or 5 games that we lost by 1 score.
Well, and I'm, I go back to how much freedom, we keep hearing that Sam doesn't have anything to do with the offense. This is all Bobby. He's going and he's helping Mateos with the offensive line.
The oldest grad assistant in all of college football.
And then T. Will has the defense. So he's going from everything he said, he's going very CEO style approach.
Mm-hmm.
I'll believe it when I see it.
But he's also said that since he's gotten here too.
Yeah. I mean, he said that Kendall had full reins of the offense, and we found out that was not entirely true.
No, because look at what he did at TCU. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
You're not a Kendall Browse dude, so I get it.
I'm not a Dan Enos fan either.
The dipstick.
Sure, that's what we'll call him. Garrett Ray had a comment earlier before we get to Loki. He says, I can tell my prediction is 9-3 at best, 8-4 realistically.
I love your optimism, Garrett. I really do. And I hope you're right.
I do too. But again, there's a lot of unknowns. Loki, birthday boy, wise man says, to answer the question, I don't see Pitt stepping down. It is a cushy gig, and for damn sure, nobody wants him after falling off a cliff like he has. And he is way too tangled up in the NIL mess to cut loose without major fallout as a result. Boy, that's a
substitution there.
Quick thinking. I gotta be quick on my feet.
You didn't want to say that the wrong way, so.
and we know my history of saying words, so
yeah. I mean, again, the wise man bringing the heat has an excellent point there. It is kind of a cushy gig, not a jig. A jig is what I will dance if they go 6-6 or better.
Please tell me you got that, Jesse.
I got him.
Great.
And just to follow up, I'm going to save MC here. Just to follow up, Loki asked, wait, will we acknowledge on the show who was the closest at the end of the season? Yes, Loki, I will be taking notes and clipping scenes, and somebody will be eating crow at the end of the season.
Wait,
Dylan, but
we are too far apart on our predictions for the most part. So we got to have a recap show at the end of the season and see who's going to look like the genius and who's going to look like the moron.
Okay, now wait a minute. All right, whoa. Wait just a damn minute.
Yeah, we didn't talk about this in our
wait
pre-show.
I wasn't ready. I want to do over. And when the hell did Jesse take this over? Oh yeah, I forgot I hired him as EP. My bad. No. Damn you, Jesse. Oh man. But yes, we're gonna acknowledge it, and 9 times out of 10, it will probably be me looking like the moron, because that's what I do. That's what I do.
I think I'm either gonna look like a genius or a moron with my Taylor Green.
Yeah, but here's the key for you, MC. Basketball will save you. I got nothing that's gonna save me from any of this.
I hope. I will say this. I am not wasting any of my Kool-Aid on football right now.
You are. I'm gonna have to, like I said, I'm gonna have to buy you a damn seatbelt for that chair. But Chris Shaw, our boy Chris Shaw, what's up, Chris? He is now a hockey dude, which is weird because I never pictured him as hockey man. He says we're going 7-5. That seems to be the expectation this year for the most part.
I've seen a lot of 7-5, 8-4s from fan base on social media.
I mean, you don't play you don't play Alabama and you don't play Georgia.
And see that's another piece of this that we've not talked about that just has me wanting to bang my head through the wall, because this should be a year when Arkansas could go 8-4, 9-3, with not having, you get LSU at home, you get Texas at home, you get Tennessee at home, you get Ole Miss at home. You don't have Bama, you don't have Georgia.
Here's the problem, though. Those could be the 4 losses.
It could be. I see a 1-3 at best in those 4 games. Ole
Miss is my dark horse to win the conference. Okay, I really think, and I'll say it here, I think it's going to come down to Georgia and Ole Miss in Atlanta. Okay,
yeah,
because Lane Kiffin and I would love to see Arkansas. I still think Arkansas Vanderbilt. We know all these other teams are going to get it. Why don't we just get somebody else in that hasn't been? Give somebody else a turn. But it's Lane Kiffin is down there, and he's quietly. Well, he's not quietly, but he's building that team.
Yeah, he's taken Ole Miss to a height that
the man walked into Fayetteville, stole one of our recruits, took pictures with him, and then walked out.
Yeah. I mean, that's
number 2. I don't think Bama is going to be the Bama of Nick Saban era.
No, they're not.
I don't.
But now, I'm not going to say they're going to have a crash and burn season. But Bama fans will probably be ready to jump off of a cliff.
Jesse, do me a favor. Put Dylan's comment up there.
The one where he starts with, oh, yeah, that one.
Question: when Arkansas wins by 60 next Thursday, what will y'all's reaction be? Zach, you're supposed to. MC, let's see that against Oklahoma State. It's scary how
park the DeLorean and get out of the time machine.
It's scary how good that is.
That's pretty spot on. Now, I will say this: the spread, Bet Saracen had the spread initially at like 52.5.
Yeah,
it has dropped to like 47 now, which is still just an insane amount of points.
You still think they don't cover?
I'm going to say they don't cover. That's a bonus hot take. They don't cover.
Step back. We have a winner. By the way, we've got one half of royalty in the house. Casey Sutton is here. Says, Sam, let's off the gas. And he does. Look at the last couple of years. Okay. We get Kansas, Liberty Bowl. Okay.
Yeah, it cost him a bowl win. Yeah.
Perfect opportunity. Perfect example. He let off the gas because I think we had like a 3-score lead at one point
in the first half,
and was cruising, and 3 overtimes.
Yeah,
come on now, and the biggest test. And well, let me just throw a curveball at you, and Jesse, feel free to jump in if you want to. The biggest test that will tell us where this season's going to go is which one. Oklahoma State, Auburn, or A&M?
I'm gonna go Auburn. Oklahoma State struggles early in the year. South Alabama beat them last year early in the year. They ended up in the Big 12 championship. UCA had them on the ropes and had 2 touchdowns called back due to penalty, or UCA would have beat them in Stillwater.
UCA should have had them. If I remember correctly, one of those TDs that got called back was complete horse crap.
Yeah.
It was a phantom holding call.
Yes.
Now, talk about that game for a minute. Had UCA knocked off Oklahoma State, that would have turned some heads, and Nathan Brown would have been.
You would have seen his name starting to pop up.
Oh, yeah.
A few places.
Oh, yeah.
But, okay, so you said, what'd you say, Jesse? You said Auburn?
I said Auburn is going to be our first real test because it's at Jordan-Hare, so we're not going to win.
What
Birmingham will make sure of that.
I'm gonna go Auburn as well because usually A&M is our first conference game here the last couple of years, but now you've got Auburn on the road.
Yeah, in Jordan-Hare.
That's going to tell you because we don't know what Auburn's going to do either.
Yeah, Auburn is a big question mark as well. They think they're going to be pretty good, but they have a lot of questions as well. I'm glad y'all went the way you went because I'm going to go with the Aggie game.
Why Aggie?
Okay, simply because if you look at history, that game has been the point to where you could tell Arkansas, okay, we have potential to go be really, really good, or we're going to go straight to the crapper from here. Okay. Prime example, KJ taking off from the 5-yard line. That freak play, which falls into my curse category, because how many times have you seen a lateral like that on a fumble recovery go for 100 yards? That play, I will stand and die on this hill. That play is the reason that season went the way it did. I think you could have, that was 22. I think you could have had another 9-win season had Arkansas win that game right there, because that just took between that play and then Cam Little hitting the top of the upright to miss the field goal to lose to not sneak out of there.
If that game was at home, that kick is good.
That kick's good because the uprights are taller at the NFL level.
I saw a comment over here that I wanted to touch on. Dylan says, I don't think A&M is going to be as good as everyone thinks. Elko's record at Duke wasn't that good. What makes people think he's God's gift? Here's the thing. A&M is ranked in the top 25 preseason coaches poll right now. Okay?
I agree with Dylan. I don't think they're going to be that good.
I don't think they're going to be better than 6-6.
No. But I think they're going to beat us.
Well, I mean, we're going to end up beating ourselves at this point.
Yeah, you think about the last several games in that series. The only game we won was 2021 in the 9-win season. The other game, how many times have we had that game right here and just literally not been able to close the fist on it?
Every year.
Yeah. I mean,
every year.
There's only been like one.
Jesse, hold on for that break for me just a minute. You know, and he's probably, his head's exploding, by the way. Your mic cut out, MC, when the music hit. No, and I 100% agree. But at the same time, a lot of these games are going to be toss-ups because we just don't know what Arkansas is.
Yep.
You know? We don't. But I know Jesse's wanting to go to break because on the other side of the break is his new favorite segment, and it's becoming mine too. It's the Hawg Tuah segment. That's right. Hawg Tuah. I thought he was going to do it. Oh, my God. I was holding my breath for that. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. We're going to be right back. You're listening to Inside the Hawg Pen. Final segment coming up right after this.
Mix Design is your one-stop shop for custom clothing with a personal touch. At Mix Design, we can help you tell your story through your wardrobe. Your imagination on a hat, shirt, pullover, or nearly anything wearable. And while you're picking out some custom clothing, check out the one-of-a-kind handmade soaps from the Bobcat Soap Company. Find us on Facebook and let us create custom swag just for you at Mix Design.
It's time to step back inside the Hawg Pen to the Mix Design Studios.
Ability and he has the opportunity to have some DMAD like qualities. My executive producer is dying right now.
Yeah.
By the way. All right, welcome back to Inside the Hawg Pen on the Sideline Radio Network. That gets me every time, dude. I just look at you. You're an idiot. But that is why we have named this segment the Hawg Tuah segment, and we're gonna bring Jesse in. Jesse's got these comments lined up. Jesse, fire
us away since Zach froze there.
Yeah,
I'm back again.
You're good. You're good.
Okay, you're good. First up, Royalty. Casey saying, hey.
Casey. For those of you that don't know, by the way, she is our number one fan for good reason. She's been with us since day number one back in 2017. And she is our royalty because she's kicked cancer's ass not once, not twice, but a possible third time. She is officially Superwoman. So props to Miss Casey. And she also says, what do you guys think about Green as quarterback? MC, I'll let you take this one.
That's one of the questions I have. I think he could be pretty solid based on the film we've seen at Boise, but at Boise he didn't face the same caliber of defenses that he's going to see in the SEC. It's all about how he responds to the teaching that he's getting in the quarterback room. I think he's got the ability. It's just, is he going to be able to adjust to the difference in the speed of the game between being at Boise State and being in the SEC?
You're right. And what I used to be able to say, being in the SEC West, the hardest division in all of college football, but that doesn't happen anymore. But the other thing, too, is you have to watch his accuracy. Yes. He can throw it a mile, but he can't complete a simple catch. He can't.
Yeah, that's where you're going to see the impact of Bobby is the teaching that he gives to Green.
Yeah.
Loki coming in. A few huge wins does not equal a winning season, though. What's y'all's take on that?
I got 2 words for it. Moral victories.
No.
Loki's spot on. I'll keep it with 2 words as well. Spot on.
I mean, it does. I mean, it doesn't. But at the same time, you can't just win. Like if you go 3-9 and you win all your trophy games but lose the other ones, those trophy games don't matter. Yeah, it's like a certain quarterback that's been here that broke all these records and set all these records, but could never win the big game.
Loss record. Yeah,
exactly. Nobody's going to remember it.
Got Christopher Shaw coming in. Bobby P, fast-paced offense down your throat with the fullback and then over the head of the cornerbacks.
If that's what we see, I'm going to love it. If that's what we see, I'm going to love it.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to want to. Arkansas is known for smash mouth football. You have to be, and with Bobby being one of the best offensive minds in the country, he's going to have to show it, and he's going to have to show it game 1 in 8 days.
Loki coming in, calling out Razorback Zach here. How dare you be an enthusiastic fan?
I know, right?
Yeah,
I know, right? What
Debbie Downer over here, you know,
Mr. Optimistic as my co-host.
We got 3 in a row coming from Mr. Christopher Shaw, so I'll just fire all 3 off.
All right.
I think you have to find a fine balance of analytics and gut feelings. He thinks Bobby P is going to bring that. I agree 100%. What's y'all's take on that one?
Go ahead, Zach.
Well, I mean, again, Bobby Petrino is one of the best offensive minds in the country when it comes to the game of football. Okay, look at outside of Atlanta. Look at everywhere he's been. He's won. I mean, he brought an FCF school in here in Fayetteville and nearly kicked our tails.
Yeah.
Okay. With lower tier talent, he nearly kicked our butts.
Running a lot of the same sets that he ran when he was here, because there were several key plays in that game that I remember looking at and going, I remember that.
But I mean, but Chris is right. You have to have that. It's almost like mixing your favorite punch, or for those of you that drink, it's like having your favorite alcoholic beverage. Okay, mm-hmm. You have to have that perfect mix of analytics and gut feeling, just like you have to have the perfect mix of Coke or Dr. Pepper with Jameson or Jack or Jim or whatever your drink of choice is. You have to have that balance, because leaning one way or the other costs you a game, almost cost you a bowl win.
We've been very analytic heavy under Sam. I feel like it's time to go back and lean more. If we can't be straight up and down, I want to lean more towards the gut feeling rather than the analytics.
Especially with someone like Bobby who knows the game as well as he does. I feel like Sam is more of an in the trenches. When it comes to the trenches, Sam's one of the smartest people out there. But the rest of the game, he is not as well versed in.
I agree.
If he's one of the best, this is the year to prove it.
That's
if he really wants to be going and really wants to have a legacy of being one of the best in the trenches, this is where he has to prove it. He's got to prove it this year.
Yep.
Yes. Christopher, again, he's thinking we're going to be a sleeper this year because no one knows what we are capable of doing or lack of doing.
I mean, again,
I don't disagree.
I don't disagree because there's a lot of unknowns. Okay, there's a lot of new pieces on both sides of the ball. Again, we can go 4-8, we can go 8-4, we can go 2-10 or 10-2. I doubt it, but we
go 10-2, and I'll have to come up with something crazy that I'm willing to do on camera.
Look, we go.
I don't know what it would be, but
let me smash an egg on your head.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that. But I'd have an egg on my face. If we go 10-2, I'm gonna have egg on my face anyway. So I might as well have literal egg on my face.
I know what has to happen if we go 10-2. I'm gonna end up having to step away for a month and let D-Mad take over.
We'll have a crown. We'll proclaim him King D-Mad.
There will be no shutting him up for a long freaking
and
time.
Rightfully so, man. I mean, I would be just as bad. Yes.
But if he does that though, if he pulls this off and he's right, we might have an up and coming new wise man in our midst.
It'll be worth it. You know what? It'll be worth it.
Oh yeah, totally worth it.
All right, and then Christopher's last comment of the Hawg Tuah section. We got one more after this from Loki. I don't think Bobby P will allow Sam to take his foot off the gas. Our OC is always out for blood. He doesn't care if it's a well-organized defense or an assistant on a motorcycle. Always going for blood.
Oh, my God.
I quit.
Bang,
I quit.
Zoom.
I quit here and now.
That is why it's called Hawg Tuah.
Where's Sam Jones tonight?
Yeah. We have not heard from the wisdom of Sam.
Right?
And then Loki chiming in on the A&M game. I think people are expecting A&M to be good because of the A&M game to be good because of the Bobby P factor. Not only are we rivals, but now we want to go stomp all over our new sweetheart's ex for letting them go.
Fair assessment. Does Bobby have, that game circled as one to where he can go and really show off his offensive prowess?
I'm gonna say this, and y'all watch MC when I say this.
Oh Lord,
he has this game circled like Calipari's got his return to Rupp Arena circled on our calendar.
Okay, all right.
Look! Y'all saw that?
Loki with the win.
Yeah. You know what? Hey, I'll go on the record right here. 10-2, that will happen.
Okay, I'm gonna play the dumb
You can
part.
clip that, put it on social media. Hogs go 10-2. I will recreate the truffle shuffle from the Goonies. Raising my shirt and all. I will do it.
You know what?
We may have to put it behind a paywall.
To hell with it. I'll do it too. To hell with it. I'll do it too. I'll drive to the NEA Hawg Pen and we'll. To hell with it.
That's how confident I am that we're not going 10-2. Because
I swear to God, we go 10-2 and you make me do the truffle shuffle, I might actually hit you.
Hey, what if okay, so we need to clarify this. Is it 10-2 regular season? So the 10th win could not come in a bowl game.
Wouldn't that make us 9-3 or 10-3?
Yes.
That's not 10-2. That's 10-3.
Not 10-2. That's 10-3. Okay, just making sure we're clarified there.
I think if we can get to double-digit wins and have a season like Mizzou had last year, it doesn't matter when the 10th win comes, and I will join in with y'all.
That's
if we
fair.
win 10 games,
10 games, truffle shuffle across the board.
I've got one more hot take and a prediction here that I forgot to mention in our first segment. Trevor Kaiser, a buddy of mine, he says 7-5. Taylor Green is going to hit it hard, and the team, I think, finally comes together. If not, clean slate process starts in Columbia, Missouri. He also thinks Alabama has a flop year at 6-6, and a bunch of teams are overrated.
Man,
the only threat in the SEC this year is Georgia and LSU.
They Bama goes 6-6. Kalen DeBoer better just
I don't think
you can't put that man would not be safe in Fort Knox if they go 6-6.
I don't think they go 6-6, but I do think they slip up, and I don't think they're going to be as prevalent in the
they're gonna be good by Arkansas standards. They will be good. They'll win 9 or 10 games. Now, Bama fans will think that the sky is falling.
I mean, 8-4, 7-5 is not out of the realm of possibility either.
No, it's not. It's not.
You know, this could be the return of the quote unquote dark ages for Alabama.
I'm not opposed to that.
And they're gonna be just like Arkansas fans. Well, at least there's basketball season.
Yeah, true.
Before we get to final thoughts, I do want to backtrack to one thing in the episode, Zach. We were talking about Ole Miss, and I know they're your dark horse.
Yeah.
But you and I have had this conversation. When is the last time the Ole Miss Rebels won a game at Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium?
2008. Houston Nutt.
That is correct.
Yeah.
They've only beat us
never play well
once
in Fayetteville
since then on our turf, and it was in Little Rock.
It was in Little Rock in 18.
Where Ty Story got knocked out to Chanel Boulevard.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I was sitting at the very, very top of War Memorial at that game. It was cold, it was wet, it was miserable conditions.
Yeah.
And that was also the game where I got into a little bit of a scuffle trying to break a fight up and got hit in the back of the head with a fist by a big dude, but we're not going to go there. You could hit when he got hit, you could hear that hit clear as day, like you were standing 2 feet in front of it from where I was sitting. He got knocked up out.
Yeah, he got mollywopped. I remember that.
But I mean, like I said, you have a point, but again, Lane Kiffin's building something down there in Oxford. You know,
yeah, he is.
It's going to be scary, but when you look at the SEC as a whole, and this is including, and Oklahoma, this ain't the SEC we used to know.
No, it's not.
You know, you're not. I mean, the only legit threat as of right now, a week before the season starts, Georgia. The only known threat, Georgia.
Yeah, it's Georgia and everybody else. I mean, for the longest time, it was Alabama and everybody else. Now that that Saban's gone and Kirby's over at Georgia, Georgia has taken up the king's throne. I mean, it just is what it is. In the SEC, that's who's on top of the mountain right now.
And again, we've talked about it all show, and we've talked about it for the last month. Arkansas is an unknown.
Very
Arkansas,
much. Yes.
Chris Shaw, I think it was Chris Shaw that said it. Arkansas could be a sleeper.
I hope so, man. I would love nothing more than to upset and humble a lot of these people. And if there's one team that I really want to humble, I want to go to Columbia and just completely embarrass them after what they did to Arkansas last year. Woo.
I don't think they're going to be much of a threat either. I think they completely collapse as well.
I think they'll have a winning season, but they're not going to repeat what they did last year.
No.
Last year was the unicorn season for them.
Yeah, I want nothing more than to kick back with Thanksgiving Day leftovers and just watch us kick the crap out of Missouri.
Yep.
And that's the thing. I don't care about the trophy. The rivalry, just not that no.
I don't like.
I just want to kick the crap out. I literally the teams that we have just lost to consistently, which is all of them.
Yeah, all of them.
But Missouri, LSU, A&M, and of course the obvious one, Texas. But last time they came to Razorback Stadium, we kicked the crap out of them there too.
So I'm not ready to wrap this up with final thoughts, but I got to throw one question at you. And Jesse, you can jump in on this if you want to as well.
Are we on a roll? We're going to keep going for a little bit.
This just hit me. So would you be willing to trade a loss to either UAB or Louisiana Tech to beat both A&M and Missouri?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Missouri, that's not a big whoop.
Yeah, but I mean, I hate to say this, but they've dominated us ever since they came into the league.
True. But losing to UAB or La Tech
would be terrible. UAB would be not the worst loss ever because
they're still North Texas.
Respectable. Yeah, I mean, it would not be the Western Kentucky, North Texas level, But I mean, it would sting, but it wouldn't be as bad as Louisiana Tech. Tech is not Tech. This is not the Louisiana Tech of years past when they were serviceable.
But a lot of the old heads are going to want the trophy games. Now, I got one for you, and we'll let Jesse chime in. Would you trade the trophy game of Arkansas, Missouri for a trophy game of Arkansas and Texas?
In a heartbeat.
Why?
So let me make sure I'm following you right. Take the trophy away from the Missouri game and create one for the Texas game.
Yes.
Absolutely 100%. There is historical evidence of a rivalry there. There is game after game after game. There's the relationship between Darrell Royal and Frank Broyles in the history. There is so much more there. The groundwork is there. You don't have to manufacture anything for that game. It's there. Whether Texas wants to admit it or not, it's there.
I mean, 2021 was the first year we've played Texas since the bowl game in Houston.
Yes.
In 15, right? And before that, it was wasn't it 2000?
They came to Fayetteville in 2004.
That was
Jones's senior year, I believe.
Okay, so when was the ambush in Austin? That was 03, wasn't it?
That was 03.
Okay.
And then they came back that next year in 04, just barely slipped out of town with a win. I think Cedric Benson was the star running back for Texas at that time. They won like 18-16, 16-14, something weird like that because we had a safety. We had a guy, deep snapper, snapped it over the punter's head and out the back of the end zone, and that ended up being the difference in the game.
I mean, like I said, random thought. I just thought I had, throw
in a heartbeat. Yes,
Jesse, go ahead, man. I know you got some thoughts on all this.
All right, back to the La Tech. This is not Terry Bradshaw's La Tech,
right?
It depends on how Mizzou was setting and what our record looked like if I would trade. There's too many variables there. Just off the top, I wouldn't trade that. As for the trophy game, as much as I dislike Steve Sarkisian, he said it best. Arkansas fans hate Texas more than they like themselves.
Yeah, 100%.
No, 100%. And that's true. That's true because, like MC had said, because of the history behind it.
So, Jesse, I'm gonna give you a couple variables here on the Missouri thing. Missouri is Arkansas is not going to make a bowl. Okay, so we've got 4 wins. Let's say we got 4 wins at that point. The Butte, Missouri, that could get them to 5. Missouri is sitting at, I guess it would be 5 and 6, playing for their bowl lives. If you can knock them out of a bowl game, would you take it then?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm with you.
I'm from the Russellville area. I don't personally know Eli, but I cannot stand the man.
We're just going to call him the dork from now on because that's exactly what he looks like. Looks like, well, he's just the biggest cootie I've ever seen.
So he's begging fans to come out and fill their stadium for their season opener not this weekend, but I guess next weekend. Do you guys think if Arkansas was coming off of a season like what Missouri had last year, a New Year's Six Bowl, 11 wins, you think we would have any trouble filling up the stadium for the season opener?
Who's their season opener?
I should have known you were going to ask that.
That's the keys. Who's their season opener? Okay.
Do you think it would matter here?
Yes.
Coming off an 11-win season?
Yes.
See, I don't think it would, man.
We came off a 9-3 season and barely filled War Memorial.
Yeah, but not at okay. It's Dylan coming in strong with comments. Murray State.
I mean, see, I don't know. I'm under the impression of, look, you've got to, just because you're coming off an 11-win season. Now, if it was an Alabama, oh God, an Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, LSU, and I'm going to say it, the blue bloods of the SEC. Oh yeah, they're not going to have a problem filling it up game 1. No matter who they're playing. They could play Alabama high school, Texas high school, whatever.
So let's say Arkansas is coming off an 11-2 season, New Year's Six Bowl, and you're going to open up with Louisiana Tech. Let's just go with them.
Is it in Fayetteville or Little Rock?
No, it's in Fayetteville. No.
But again,
you know my feeling. I don't count Little Rock as a road game.
Again, though. Okay. Again, you have to take that into account.
No,
I know most people are like, Little Rock's an away game.
Yeah,
they treat it like an away, and I get that. But again, name a school that has 2 home stadiums.
Yeah, that nobody does anymore.
Nobody does. Even these rivalry games that are supposed to be in Jacksonville, in the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, they used to play the Iron Bowl in Birmingham.
Exactly.
And they don't anymore because it doesn't make sense. So
now
the only other big level rivalry game like that I can see that is in a different location, you've got the cocktail party, which you can't call it the cocktail party anymore, between Georgia and Florida's in Jacksonville.
Right.
And then you've got Oklahoma and Texas. I think even though they're both going to be SEC teams, I think they're still going to play it at the old Cotton Bowl at the Texas State Fair.
Yeah,
I saw that.
That one will stay there. So real quick note, and I know we're running over, but that's okay. We can run over. What's going to happen? I've been getting a lot of questions about what happens to the Arkansas A&M game and that starting next year.
It's going home and home.
It's going home and home. But here's what's going in its place: it's Texas A&M in Dallas. Okay, that's going to happen there. They were talking about putting the Red River rivalry there, but leave it in the old Cotton Bowl Stadium. Leave it there.
There's too much tradition with the Red River rivalry. My dad is a Texas fan. There is too much tradition with the Red River rivalry to move it out of the Cotton Bowl away from the State Fair. That is one of the centerpieces of the Texas State Fair.
Now, to go back on your point, MC, let's say we went 11-1 last year.
Okay.
But we have this year's schedule still.
Uh-huh.
UAPB, Thursday night, Little Rock. Doesn't happen. Even if you put that game in Fayetteville, doesn't happen.
See, I disagree. I think if we were 8 days out from this UAPB game coming off an 11-win season, that place would be sold out already. I firmly believe. And much trash as I've talked on War Memorial Stadium and Little Rock, when we're winning, that place fills up, man. It doesn't matter who. I mean,
but the problem is it's not the War Memorial.
No, it's not what it
from the Houston Nutt era.
The old gray mare ain't what she used to be.
No, it's not. I just don't see now. If you were bringing in Ole Miss, having an SEC game, oh, dude, hands down.
Are you talking about like as a season opener?
Yeah.
Yeah, and see, a lot of people want to have
or if you had
we're going to get off in the weeds here in Little Rock, but I really think, okay, so let me do you one better. Coming off an 11-win season, you put another in-state team versus Arkansas in Little Rock.
Now, who would that be?
UCA.
The Bears.
Damn it, you had me.
I set that hook. I set that hook.
All right, you got me.
I mean, well, the other one's too easy because it's gonna sell out.
Well, but I mean, at the same time, why would you make that a home and home? Why would you make A-State, Arkansas, a home and home? Put that game in Little Rock.
No, you're not going to do a home and home with
if you're gonna have a game in Little Rock starting next year, it needs to be Arkansas State, and it needs to be called the Natural State Classic.
We'll see if it stays. With SEC is going to go to 9 conference games next year. We'll see if that one stays on the schedule.
Jesse, put up Dan Yoakum's comment.
I was hoping.
I'm gonna let MC take this one.
Oh boy. So Dan Yoakum, for those of you listening on the podcast that can't see the question here, Dan Yoakum brings up a really great question. would you give up an 0-12 football season if it meant we could pull off a John Calipari level of hire for football? And then he throws out the name Saban as an example. Saban's off the board. He ain't coming back. But to somebody of that level, would we, the fans, be willing to sacrifice and go 0-12 if it meant you're bringing in a Nick Saban type, somebody with that level of success? Now,
Bill
I don't
Belichick.
know who. Huh?
Bill Belichick.
I mean,
my question is, who is Saban level that's available right now?
Who's the Calipari? Well, Calipari wasn't necessarily available. It just kind of, happened. But who would be the Calipari equivalent in football?
I can only think of one name right now.
At the moment? Go ahead, Jesse.
Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
He's not available, but he's not coming to Arkansas.
Well, yeah, okay, but 8
Dylan
months
Dabo,
ago we said John Calipari's not coming to Arkansas.
Well,
We all said Calipari wasn't coming.
about a year ago, we said that Bobby P wasn't coming back.
Bobby P's not coming back. He's never coming back. Whoopsie.
I don't know. But in wrapping this up, though, because we could go all night with you guys, and we love this. We're going to continue to do this, and in 8 days, we're going to see what this team is like. But we appreciate all you guys hanging out with us tonight. I know Sam Pittman Live started tonight, and you could be listening to, I don't know, or you could be listening to us. And you chose, some of you chose us, and I speak on behalf of MC and Jesse both. We greatly, greatly appreciate it, and thank you so very much. MC, final thoughts before we get out of here tonight.
8 days out, man. I'm trying to find my enthusiasm for the beginning of the season. I got 7.5 days to get my mind right and get ready. But to quote D-Mad from what he said earlier on me, he nailed me right there when he said, "Let me see it against Oklahoma State."
Yeah,
that's pretty much going to be my mindset.
He got us there. If we did not get to your comment tonight, we apologize. We ran out of time, but we will try to mention them next week. Next week, 4 shows in 3 days.
Woo.
Wednesday night, 2 on Thursday, depending. With the Harris Med Chef Services Tailgate Show kicking off at 6 o'clock, leading you all the way up to kickoff. And then, of course, the Dave Ellswick Show coming up Friday, August 30th, 10 a.m. MC and I will be in studio. And, of course, MC will be joining from the NEA Hawg Pen. You don't want to miss that. We are 8 days out. Make sure you guys grab your water bottles.
Yes.
Because, God forbid, War Memorial runs out. 7,000 cases, they said, they have of water.
Well, and they've also, I just saw this right before the show, they have also installed 250-gallon water monsters that are supposed to keep 250 gallons of ice cold water, and fans are going to be allowed to bring an empty water bottle or a cup to get the free water out of the water monster. So we'll see how that goes.
Jesse, big man, the beard behind the board. Final thought before we get out of here.
8 days. We're about to find out what all this talking is going to amount to, and we're about to see who wears the dunce cap and who looks like the wise man of the group, to say the least.
Nice segue, Jesse. Nicely done. Nicely done. 8 days, man. I didn't think we'd get here. I feel like it's a long way off. But we're here. We're 8 days out. And Inside the Hawg Pen's here to get you all set. Starting on Wednesday night, 7 p.m., right here on the Sideline Radio Network. For Marcus, MC, Carlton, and the beard behind the board, Jesse Thurman, I'm Razorback Zach. You have been listening to an all-new episode of Inside the Hawg Pen. Until next time, so long, everybody.
Thanks for watching this episode of Inside the Hawg Pen. Listen anytime on your favorite podcast provider. And be sure to follow us on all our social network channels.